Hello, welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Bastiodon again, this time around in the Great League Remix Cup. This Pokemon is kinda unleashed in this meta as most must-have users are gone, making this a very tricky Pokemon to deal with for a lot of teams from the opponents. You're gonna see already. The first opponent is running that Drifblim in the lead. We're going to have in the back here the Tropius. Don't worry, don't click away if you don't have a Tropius. There are alternatives which we're going to talk about here today as well. And we're going to have as our Saysop, the Gallade. Gallade is a lot of fun, especially in a Saysop position. And I love this team. This team worked out super well. I most likely would have been even able to get better results if I played the team for a little bit longer before. But honestly, this team is worth it. This team is so much fun to play. And it is very strong. Toxic teams are back for sure, especially like this. Yes, you could also go ahead, for example, for Tropius and get the Victory Bell to be even more toxic. A Pokemon though that I would recommend you a little bit more even would be though the Whimsicott. Whimsicott would be a great alternative as well for the Tropius, allowing you to have another fighting resist, but also a Pokemon that does double super effective damage against the Pangoro, and also you're going to have with that a Saysop against Pokemon like the Sableye. And so this would be at least my idea for it. Here the opponent is definitely not running the correct Swampert. I don't think it really matters because we should be able to outspeed them in the long run anyway, but they have a 500 CP Swampert here. I think they just misclicked or something like this. Funny enough there, but we still would have won no matter what. There was no way of the opponent really winning this battle. But like this, I can let the move go through and take a look at how much a Hydro Cannon from a 500 CP Summer does. Honestly, quite a lot, but it does not really matter here anyway, as they're going to be able to win the first battle. And here's exactly the one reason why you need to have an anti-fighting type grass type Pokemon in the back. Why Pokemon like maybe the Chestnut might not work as well as they usually would be working with the Bastiodon. Main reason is you just really need an answer from Pangoro. Pangoro is very strong in the current meta, and so that is definitely a Pokemon you should be aware of. Anyway, we're going to be able to get a shield here from the opponent's Weezing, which I did not expect, but I definitely gladly take this one. And with this, we're going to be able to go for the full farm down against the opponent's Weezing here. Brutal Swing is not really doing any damage. We're going to be able to get up to another charge move as well, and we just have to hope that there's going to be something in the back that we can deal with. It is sadly a Walrein. I saw someone suggesting this team as well before, so like it's very likely that they got this from that person as well. But yeah, I saw like online on the top teams, I think from Inadequance. But if they were the non-Shadow variant, like if they were the Shadow variant, he actually would have been most likely better for me, because with the Shadow variant, I'm fairly certain this Leaf Blade would have been enough to knock them out. But like this, it is going to be very difficult for us to still win the battle. Yeah, if they were Shadow, like we would have been fine. And we'll see here, the opponent was able to swap out in time into the Pangoro. That's why he went for the Flamethrower as well to try to predict this one. But it's still very difficult to win this battle here. The opponent decides to go for a charge move. It is going to be that close combat. And with this, we're gonna sadly kind of go down here. Still, I think we would be able to survive another move here. It's going to be another close combat. We need one more fast move, but we don't get this one off, and we barely lose against this team. But if you think about this, this was kind of a hard-wall team. There was literally nothing I could have done there against this opponent. But now we can move on to the next one. Let's see what they're going to have here. It is going to be Drifblim in the lead. Drifblim in the lead is going to be very easy to deal with. We're going to see the swap out into the Toxicroak, but they're actually running Poison Jab, which is a very smart move, and honestly maybe a better move than Counter right now on this Pokemon. Very likely better move than Counter on this Pokemon. Allowing it to still generate the energy that they generated before. They're running Such Bomb as well, making it a little bit of a tricky matchup. But even though it's a bad matchup for me, generally speaking, I'm still going to be able to get either a shield advantage here or even the farm down afterwards, so it was not even that bad. And so we can align ourselves again. We're going to still have enough health that the opponent is going to be in an awkward spot with the Drifblim. They will be able to fully farm me down, but not before I can go for an Aerial Ace, putting them with this also maybe into range for a Leaf Blade later on. And so, as we will see as well, they're going to have the Poliwrath on the back, allowing us to go into our own Gallade, and with this we're going to be able to perfectly align ourselves. There's nothing the opponent can really do here anymore. As we will see as well, they're going to use a shield, they can go for an Icy Wind before we reach our next charge move, but there's no way really that they're going to be able to win this battle here, as we can just go ahead, go for another Leaf Blade. This should be enough to knock them out here, and with this the opponent, yeah, kinda can just forfeit, and they do exactly this. Next opponent, the Great Lead Force again on Dragonite. A lot of flying type Pokemon so far in the lead, and I make a huge mistake here. What mistake did I do here? I stopped out straight away. I should have stayed in with my Bastiodon. I should have went for one Flamethrower first, let them go for some charge moves. This would have been the ideal play. So if you're gonna see like a Steelix coming in this kind of scenario against you, just stay in for a little bit. Let them play out a little bit, let them go for their crunches, let them go for their psychic things. They very rarely use Earthquake on this Pokemon anyway, and it would make the matchup way easier for you. Like this, I have no chance of really realigning myself, which is a huge mistake because, like, how am I going to be able to win the battle now? My only hope is that they're going to have the Pokemon in the back that I expected they would have in the back, which is going to be the Registeel. And so my play is to try to get as much energy as possible here, which I am going to be able to do. And I try to get basic energy to go for a Flamethrower here. And then I kind of want to swap out afterwards if it's going to be the Registeel, which it is. I kind of want to get some extra energy afterwards as well here against the Registeel still. Then swap out into the Gallade. Try to maybe get the shields against the opponent's Dragonite here as well with the Leaf Blade bait. And then maybe with a close combat afterwards. I don't think I can go for too close combat, sadly. And as we'll see, the Leaf Blade is coming through, getting the shield. I can go for the close combat, and now they either use a shield or they're going to let the move go through. Let's see what they're going to do here. They let the move go through, allowing us to knock them out. And so now the Registeel is up against the Bastiodon. But we have 2 shields still, and now it depends if they're going to debuff us or not. I think it's like, is it a 50% chance? I think it's only a 33% chance now to debuff me. So it is definitely more in our favor here to not get debuffed. I think it is. And so Flamethrower is going to be able to connect here, and the opponent is going to forfeit. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have a Tentacruel against an Elite, and this is the exact reason why I feel like that Whimsicott might be a great option here as well in the back compared to the Tropius. I would have had a little bit of a better time here if I had the Whimsicott, because I could have just swapped it out straight away into it, because you're going to be able to outspeed it with the Seed Bomb, and you guarantee a realignment, and guaranteeing a realignment is kind of important. If you think about the matchup with my Tropius now, they have access to Power Gem. Power Gem is doing a tremendous amount of damage against us, and what we're going to see as well is that they're going to be able to even reach another move here as well. By the way, if you don't have the Shadow variant of Bastion, the normal variant is totally fine as well. I always see like those comments, what if you don't have the Shadow variant? The only Shadow variant that's really needed here, in my opinion, is Gallade. I feel like Gallade does not make sense without the Shadow bonus. The bulk that it has just doesn't really allow it to survive moves anyway, and you just want to do as much damage as possible. So I would recommend here to go for Shadow Gallade. Here, sadly, I am not going to be able to go for a charge move. I should have tried to most likely just go for the Leaf Blade to get the bait there done, but yeah, I didn't, and so I'm going to lose this battle. Oh, Medicham, this is kinda giving me like some vibes from like 2, 3, 4 seasons ago, where Medicham was still available and like solid together, especially with the Bastiodon. So that's kinda cool to see. But they're running Psycho Cut as well. But if they're running Psycho Cut, it's very likely they're running Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch, so I'm not really too worried about this matchup with my Gallade. I know that I have to overfarm anyway in order to knock this Pokemon out, as I am going to be able to outspeed the opponent. I am not going to be in a position where I can two-shot them straight away with my Leaf Blade, so I need a little bit more fast move pressure against them, and I'm going to be able to go for even another Leaf Blade here. If they want to use another shield, I'm going to use another shield as well. Gallade is the Pokemon where you want to use the shields. Gallade is the squishiest Pokemon on the team. Like both Tropius as well as here, of course, our Bastiodon is going to be fighting without shields as well. Like those Pokemon have great zero shield scenarios. And as you're going to see, they're going to have their own Bastiodon in the back. And this is going to be a bit tricky now. But they're swapping out now into the Poliwrath, which is still a little bit tricky. The issue here is for me, they are going to be able to survive this one. They're going to be able to survive this one, and they can still go for an Icy Wind, and they survive with 1 HP in a Dream, but I knew this beforehand. And so the opponent is going to be able to get a ton of damage onto me, and I have to hope that I can still reach that Leaf Blade, and I do still reach the Leaf Blade here against the opponent's Bastiodon. But now they have a huge energy advantage against me, which means it is really coming down now if our Bastiodon is going to have a better time because of the small bit of damage that we got already onto the opponent. So, well, this is going to be a long matchup here. I would really appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. This is going to be a little bit of a back and forth anyway from the Bastion, so you have time. Get, I don't know, your like button ready or whatever. But yeah, would really appreciate it if you would leave a like on this video. Would really help me out. It is free. And as you will see here, the matchup now from Bastion against Bastiodon. But as you can see here already, we definitely still going to be able to survive another move. But if we're going to be able to reach our move as well, which is going to be very close, we're going to be able to win the battle. And if we survive with 1 HP in a Dream, best buddy Shadow Bastiodon is just too strong, and we can move on to the next opponent. Don't worry, I'm going to swap out, I think, eventually out of this matchup. I'm going to, like, it's funny that they are back-to-back, basically. But I'm going to go for a Flamethrower for sure still, because I kind of need to get them a little bit lower in order to have an okay matchup with a Tropius later as well. So that's why we want to stay in for a little bit. But I'm not going to try to play out the entire matchup here. There's no reason for me to do this. We have an ABB style line again. We have 2 Pokemon in the back that are weak to flying type Pokemon, and we have 1 Pokemon in the lead that's very good against them, and so we are swapping out here with all the energy that we have into our Gallade just to get out the opponent's Sableye. The opponent gets a few free fast moves in here as well, sadly, because of the frame drops that we had. But Leaf Blade is coming through, gonna get the shield. We can go for another charge move here as well. Let's see on how this is gonna work out for us. It is going to be able to get the next shield from the opponent as well, which is actually not ideal. I would have rather had some damage onto the opponent, other than like the 2 shield advantage now, because we still have to use a shield here against Pokemon with our Tropius, and I'm gonna use 2 of them as well because a return is going to chunk quite a bit. And so what I decided to go for is, of course, Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade is the best move in the game, kinda, at least like the most accessible move, the best move nowadays, I guess. Would be very likely more Pegos or Real, which I showcased already a lot of times on this channel now at this point. But I might even gonna take a look at this Pokemon again for the Great League Remix Cup, because I only had the Open Great League as well as the Halloween Cup, and both of those, this Pokemon is amazing, like literally amazing. Would really recommend you to try out more Peko as well. Very, very good Pokemon. Anyway, we're going to have the Bastion matchup here again. And it's going to be definitely a little bit of a trickier one. We're going to be able to go for 1 more Flamethrower, and they stop out into the Whimsicott, which sadly going to seal the deal, because while we're going to be able to go ahead and get some nice damage off, it is not going to be enough to knock them out, and so they're going to be able to go for the full farm down, and they're going to be able to also win the battle here. So good game here to the opponent. We can move on to the next one. So let's move on. We're going to encounter now the opponent's Machamp here, which is going to be fine. And yeah, this is going to be a very awkward matchup. I completely remember this matchup as well. It is very, very awkward. We're going to see the payback coming through. Fine shield by me. I can go for the full farm down here. That is totally fine. But as we will see here as well, the opponent goes for another charge move. It's going to be cross chop. As payback would have knocked me out, there was no reason to shield. And of course, they're going to be able to go back into now their Tentacruel. I can get a ton of damage onto them. We have like 100 energy here as well, which is going to be great. We're going to be able to go for 1 Leaf Blade. We can go for another Leaf Blade afterwards as well. This is going to get them very, very low. And I can go for even another one afterwards. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a good game now. There's nothing that can really beat me anymore, right? We are 3 versus 1 Pokemon. It's going to be a Pangoro. And I was like, fine. I can even use a shield here to get them lower, which is kind of cool. And then they get the immediate attack buff there. And this is literally sealing the deal, because otherwise I would have been able to even go into the Bastion, force the opponent to go for a close combat, drop their own attack base, defense basically with that, and we would have been in a spot where we would have been able to definitely get both of the shields before the opponent really can do anything. But because they can fully farm me down now, they have a ton of energy, and this is literally the stupidest stuff ever. Like, I was literally in such a great position. I had 2 shields with 1 shield, I think, and 3 Pokemon with 1 Pokemon, and I'm still going to lose this battle here just because of the 12.5% chance of Pangoro boosting with Night Slash, and it is just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. There was nothing that I could have done here in order to win the battle anymore after the boost. It would have been an easy victory without the boost, but it is what it is. Good game to the opponent. A boost is in the game, it is fine, and we can move on to the final opponent. Carbink, and they're going to swap out into Pangoro. This time around, we're going to be able to completely counter this Pokemon. I feel like it would be really cool to have... I don't know, does Pangoro have also Gang Shot? I know that Pangoro has Iron Head. I think they have Iron Head and Rock Slide. Rock Slide, of course, got nerfed. If Pangoro had a little bit of a better coverage against something like Tropius, it would be a really cool Pokemon to run as well for it. But yeah, we of course have the standard boost here from the opponent. I think I would have been able to go for the full farm down here, but I still decided to go for a charge move just to play it safe, I guess. Doesn't really matter anyway, because as you're gonna see here, the opponent stops out into a Runerigus. Maybe it does matter. This would have been a great matchup for us, but we're gonna get the shield here, which I'm actually happy about, because while Leaf Blade is super effective and stab there, I think the Leaf Blade from Gallade is doing more damage, and we can go for one here straight away as well to force the shield from the opponent, and it is now down to Gallade versus Runerigus. We're still gonna be able to get to another move in time for sure. We're gonna try our best. As the opponent goes for another Brutal Swing here, I'm gonna be able to go for another Leaf Blade straight away afterwards. Let's take a look at this one, but the opponent stops out into the Carbink and they even get a free fast move in. This is not ideal, but don't panic. Just get up into a little bit more energy here. We win easily the CMP tie against the opponents. Runerigus there as well. I can overfarm by a lot. Unless they're gonna get an attack drop now from Moonblast as well, it's gonna be fine. I feel like every single time I am battling a Moonblast Pokemon, it gets always the attack drop against me. Like, it's literally meme already in videos of mine, but It is going to be okay here in this scenario. It's going to be fine. We can still go for another flamethrower. This will allow us as well to swap out afterwards. I just have to go ahead and go for one leaf blade here, and this is going to be it for this video. Good game to the opponent here. Nothing they can do anymore. Galate is going to be very strong. I can really recommend you this team. Very fun to run, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.